Hello tool groupies, today on the Backwoods Mechanic channel we're going to be looking at my brand new set of GearWrench SAE 6-point combination wrenches. Now I know a lot of people love the 12-point design. You can find 12-point design everywhere you go, every store you walk into, but the 6-point design does have an essential purpose depending on what type of jobs it is that you do, what type of situations you run into. There's a lot of things you might come across depending on what type of job you got, whether you're automotive mechanic, boat mechanic, industrial mechanic, heavy equipment mechanic, or any of the other trades out here on God's green earth. And there is certain situations where a 6-point wrench is going to be absolutely essential to make your life easier, make your job get done better, and reduce the amount of times you strip a bolt head. Some form or fashion, you're going to come across something you're going to strip at one point in time, and you can avoid that by having a 6-point wrench. Now, GearWrench does have some nice 6-point wrenches. I know Tecton's got some nice stuff out here too, and I've heard that Capri Tools has some pretty good stuff on the market, but I went with GearWrench because I kind of like their stuff, even though some of their quality has went downhill as of late because of the stuff coming out of China. So I am looking into potentially finding another name brand out here, but these do match my metric set. Because I do industrial mechanic work from time to time for different factories, different locations, I do come across older equipment that has standard size fasteners. Now the reason that matters is because I prefer having the right tool for the job. There is a difference. Sure, some situations you can interchange these standard metric sizes, but for the most part I prefer using the right size for the job because it fits the best. Now of course you can see I've already color coded each one of these. They did not come this way. I just got done color coding them. If you want to find out how to color code your tools, just go to the video in the description box below. Go check that out. It's real easy, real simple. Maybe a little time consuming, but hey, makes your tools look good. As you can see here, I've got 1 inch, 15/16, 7/8, 13/16, 3/4, 11/16, 5/8, 9/16, ½ inch, 7/16, 3/8, 11/32, 5/16, and 1/4 inch. Now, each one of these are the 6-point design. These are all made in China. Chrome Vanadium Steel, fully polished mirror chrome finish. Of course, you can see it's got the die stamped indicators with the GearWrench name brand on it. Size indicators on the open end head here and right here on the body. Of course, if you flip them over, you'll be able to identify the size right here on the head, and it will have the part number on each individual wrench. So if you need to warranty these out, they do have a lifetime warranty on them. All you got to do is call the number in the description box below, go to gearwrench.com, or if you have a local CarQuest, somebody like that who sells these, they will warranty them there on the spot. These will run you different prices depending on where you get them at, so I will post the cheapest link in the description box below. You want to see how these things perform, the types of repairs I'm doing, go over to Instagram, click that follow button, because I will upload tool deals that come across there first, plus anything that I'm repairing regardless of what it is, so you can see what type of tools I'm using for the job. Now these are some pretty decent wrenches, even though they are made in China. GearWrench does have a pretty good quality tool. Now these do have the groove right there on the lower half of the jaw, and that is designed to grip a little bit better than your standard wrench, because it will grip right at the bottom of the fastener. We will demonstrate that here in just a moment. Now as far as any imperfections on these, I don't really see many imperfections. I do have some issues with some of the die stamping because they are slightly off on some of these, especially their metric sets. I got an 18mm here. Pitiful die stamping. Such as you can see on this one right here. You can see the 8 nice and clear because I did try to color code this set, but you can barely see the 1. I mean, that's just horrible die stamping. And on certain ones of these, if you feel the side of the body, you can tell that they stamped it and it bowed out the sides of the body. You can actually feel the groove where they stamped the GearWrench name or the size indicators in it. So I don't really like that. I prefer it to be nice and solid when they stamp these. A little bit better quality made product. So that's something to check out whenever you're buying tools, because in the end, I mean, as far as, you know, torquing it and stuff and breaking it, I'm more worried about the jaws or breaking the boxed end than I am the body. But there's a point where these things will flex depending on how much torque you got on them. If that influences their overall performance, then it could be an issue for some folks out here. Now, the reason I got the 6-point is because I do different types of work. Now, I do have other 6-point wrenches. I've had Craftsman USA made for years. These things have yet to let me down. They have worked on every job that I've used them for, but I do keep these for specific jobs, whereas I'm going to be taking these for other specific jobs. That way I have tools on hand at different locations that I frequently go make repairs at from time to time. And considering I cannot find these Craftsman 6-point wrenches anymore unless I go on eBay, I decided to go ahead and go with GearWrench this time around, which I ain't got no complaints. I have a lot of GearWrench tools, and they are some good quality tools out here by GearWrench. I've got many more tool reviews to come, so make sure to subscribe if you want to check them out. But now let me show you some pros and cons about the 6-point versus the 12-point. Now, this particular piece of wood here has got several different fasteners in it, and this is just for demonstrative purposes only. It's not like there's going to be a whole lot of torque on these things, but I want to show you all a few examples of something. Here is a 9/16. Okay, you got the 9/16. This is a 9/16 fastener. It is rounded, and it's more than 50% rounded if you look straight over it. It's practically all the way round. And I want to show you what a 12-point does. The 12-point is what rounded this to begin with. It goes all the way around it, doesn't have any issues. Nice and smooth. Goes all the way around, won't grip it at all, won't touch the walls. Now with a 12-point, 9/16, this is a 9/16 fastener. You can see that it hits right there on the edge of the fasteners themselves. So whenever you're putting that torque on there and you're trying to bring a fastener off, it's going to be grabbing right on the edge, the weakest spot of the fastener. And when you turn it, most of the time, if they're torqued to specifications, they'll probably come off. But there is those situations where you're going to run into rust, over torquing, and God knows what else, depending on your job. So as you can see here, once again, it goes all the way around it, doesn't even try to move it. Now for the standard open end test. This is just a basic Craftsman USA made open end. As you can see there, nothing, doesn't do a thing. Whereas on this one, it does grip it, it does turn it, it does the job it was intended to do. Just like this 9/16 here, it does grip it, it does turn it, but not the rounded one. Which is where we're going to bring the GearWrench into this, the one that's got the groove cut out right there. Just so you can see this, as you put it on the fastener, that groove is right there on the jaw. So as you're turning, depending on which direction you're turning, it helps bite into it right here at the tip. So whenever you're applying that pressure, it gives it a little bit better bite whenever you're taking the fastener on or off. Now whenever it comes to the open end here, it does grip it right here on the edge. It's actually holding a grip. Now let's see if we can get it to turn off here. Now look at that. Because of that little groove right there in the jaw, it is turning this rounded fastener. Right there you go. So clearly the GearWrench works good because it does got that little groove cut out right there, so it'll give you a little bit more of a bite in comparison to the standard combination wrench. Now for the 6-point, as we apply it here, as you can see on the 6-point, it doesn't just hit the corners. Even if this was to round off on this fastener, you're still going to have a lot more coverage whenever it comes to what it's going to bite down onto because of the flat surface right there. Just for a prime example, we will put the 6-point right here on the rounded, and it won't have a bit of a problem turning it. As you can see right here, we're turning this fastener all the way off. That is the purpose of having a 6-point boxed in wrench. Now, of course, every tool here is going to have its own purpose. The most commonly used tool is going to be the 12-point boxed in design because it's just easier to use, where you get more angles on it. As long as you're working on something, you can easily get twice as many angles as you would with a 6-point by just picking it up and moving it whichever way you want to, which means you're going to be able to get onto a fastener with more points of contact than you will with the 6-point. But there is those certain situations, like I said, something is really rusty or it's already been previously rounded because someone put the wrong size tool on it. You're working on a 14 millimeter, for example, somebody used a 9/16. The 9/16 is going to strip it out sooner than what the 14 millimeter will. So when you go back to take off that fastener, you're going to want to have a 6-point on hand just to save yourself the trouble. I know a lot of people don't like using these. A lot of people swear by the 12 points, but they do have their purpose in your toolbox. It's always a good idea to have a 6-point set in your toolbox for those situations. And quite frankly, GearWrench, for the price, I'd say right around $100 for this is not too bad to put in your toolbox. It's a good quality tool, got a lifetime warranty. GearWrench is a overall pretty good quality name brand, but we will see how these work out in the future. We will see if these break, if they bend, if they get damaged, all that good stuff in between. Because like I said, I've had these Craftsman for years. They're well over 20 plus years old. I mean, they were my father's. I've been using them since I got them from him, and they work great. They're flawless. Haven't broke one yet. So we will see if these hold up just as good as what the Craftsman USA versions did. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. There will be more content coming soon. I've been very busy working lately. And if you want to see what I've been working on, go over to Instagram. Until next time, grab yourself some tools and commence to making repairs great again.